button. We're live. Not done this in a while.
No, we haven't. I asked to tell a joke and Chris said, no, I do the jokes.
I do the jokes.
Okay, let's hear it then.
This pig went to see a therapist.
This is literally my joke.
Said to the therapist, I need help because I think everyone's trying to kill me. And the therapist said, I can cure you. Pig said, oh, not you as well.
I don't really want to start the music at that point because it's so. I mean, there's a lot of build up there and everything else. I'm even thinking about cutting the music.
Why?
I don't know. I just fed up with it. But like any client,
it's a distinctive brand asset,
yeah,
my
sure,
friend.
Sure. What is there?
People love it.
Okay, the people do love it.
People have said that they want to buy it.
What's it? Well, that's good for them.
It's like Donald Trump. People, many people, some people
right.
say it's the best intro music to a podcast they've ever heard.
Stop talking.
You can tell we've not done this for a while, haven't you? Because
So-
we've got the banter of a 5-day-old dead pig. Welcome to The Good Roundup. Good is a brand consultancy in the United Kingdom, and I am joined by Chris Lumsden
Hello there.
and Julie Murdoch,
Hi.
and we get together, not as often as we should, to have a little chat about brand, and today is no exception to that. See how smooth I'm fading that out there?
It's like you've never been away, Stuart.
No,
I
it's not
just,
15
I
years.
don't know how you can say you don't like that music. I love
I know. Maybe
I
it's
wish we could just
a
listen
bit-
to 40 minutes of that.
Well, so to probably a lot of people. So today
We have a new topic.
we have a new topic.
Our topic this week is not about me shouting about stuff. It's about Stuart shouting about stuff because he's written a ranty article.
About something that rips his knitting.
Knitting.
I know.
What's ripping your knitting, Stuart?
It's the kind of thing where, like, imagine you're knitting, right? And you get so angry, right? And you've knitted like a scarf or something.
Like
and then
Tom Daly.
Like, yeah, Tom Daly's doing his knitting. And then suddenly you kind of see something on the telly or somebody says something, you get so angry. You go, "Ah!" and you stand up and then your knitting is indeed ripped. Such is your rage.
And what is inducing the rage?
Well, brand love.
Oh,
Controversial.
Well, it's one of these terms that fucking rips a man knitting. So it's the kind of thing where like, and
Starting bold today.
well, I saw an article.
so, well, you've written an article called
Yeah.
Can't Buy Me Brand Love.
Originally, it was going to
I
be.
have to say, but before you
Yeah.
launch into your thing, I think it's one of the most entertaining articles I've ever read that you've written. And I mean it,
Thank you
genuinely. I
very
think it's
I
very,
agree.
very
I
funny.
enjoyed it.
Very
I
funny.
enjoyed it.
And I have had two people
Two.
in my orbit tell me that they think it's very good
Well,
too.
that's very kind.
So read it, folks.
Well, the original title was "Fuck Your Brand Love,"
Right,
But that
right.
wasn't very SEOable. Turns
No,
out.
turns out, no.
There's not a lot of people searching for that. It was like "Fuck Your Brand Love," and
So tell us why.
well, the reason being is that it's one of these phrases that kind of comes up from time to time. Accenture has a love index, and there's a company called Brand Love, and say how can make consumers love your brand? And on one hand, I don't think anybody does love brands, and I say that 100% as a brand person, and believe that brand can change businesses.
What does love mean?
Well, yeah. Well, Chris,
Like your love.
let's get into what love means. Well, let's get into love later. But I think it's the kind of thing where you kind of sit there and go, I mean, as I start the article off, it's like kind of, Aladdin finds a lamp and he rubs the lamp and a genie comes out, and one of the wishes Aladdin goes is going to make people love my wellness app. And the genie goes, no, because I can't make people love anything. And go, fuck that. And it's like, I mean, and if a genie can't, if one of the rules for a genie is we can't make people love anything, an agency can't make you fucking love stuff either. And I think when you see it about like brand love, it's just one of these things that you go, people don't really love brands. It's a shorthand. And for I like something and here's all the associated things, but to actually then use brand love as some kind of crazy metric, just
Or as an objective, which is nonsense.
Yeah.
Because we know.
It's a much more abstract, and you say it in your article, a nebulous thing. So how do you use that as a metric for measurement on brand performance?
Yeah.
It's not a...
And there's
not
that
a thing.
stat that we kick around. It's actually pinned to the wall behind Stuart,
It
which
is.
says that 80% of a brand's buyers know little or nothing about that brand. So that's the reality of it. I think that's a Downhead Bass or a Baron Sharp stat. I can't remember who quoted, but it's, it's been backed up. But it just shows that there's very little love out there, isn't there?
But the point, and you kind of make a similar point in your article, Stuart, is about even the other 20%, or I think you've said 95 and 5, the 5%. Even that remaining percentage of people who do know something about the brand don't love it. They will continue to buy it and engage with it and connect with it for a number of reasons. But those reasons aren't unconditional love. And this is the point we were talking about earlier, where you make it in your article that you love your family, you love your kids. Even if you have strong feelings toward a brand that's not unconditional, I think you don't have to go that far wrong before you're out and somebody else is in, because they're meeting your needs on that particular.
Yeah. There are a whole load of conditions, aren't there? Firstly, is it available?
Yeah.
Is it here? And how much is it?
Although we did, and Stuart and I talked about this ages ago, and I can't remember, but this was started to be a topic for something else, I think, but it was around why, and it's an extension of this same topic, why you're more forgiving of some brands than you are of others. Mm-hmm. And I think there's definitely an affinity that you have towards a brand because your experience is positive. So when they do something wrong, or they don't get something quite right, Apple is another perfect example of this. You're very forgiving of them because everything else around it is still really, really positive. The products are great, whatever.
And the service recovery aspect can elevate the brand in your eyes. So,
perhaps the 20% of brands that you do know something about or you do care about in some way, shape or form are likely to fare better when things don't necessarily go.
So perhaps a better stated objective in the brief is we want our buyers to have an affinity with our brand rather than, it's a difficult thing to...
I mean, I think the weird thing is about it is it's one of these catch-all terms that actually hides really good metrics that you can use. And it's almost like I kind of
What are some of those metrics?
Well, I mean, are we growing as a business? It's probably one of the, it just kind of hides it. And it's almost, for me, we were talking about earlier on with a client that feels that one of the old bosses of the business thought that marketing was fluffy. And it's this shit that actually contributes to that fluffiness and that's what annoys me about it. It actually puts us back. And when Accenture start doing things like, and it's not just Accenture, by the way, there's a whole lot. You Google brand love, hopefully I've SEO'd mine to go fuck your brand love at the top, but it's the thing where when you look at it, it's in the vernacular and I wonder where it's come from. I can't think it's any CMO. I'm wondering if it's the kind of C-suite and it's that whole marketing by air in-flight magazine thing where you go, do people love your brand? It's important for people to love your brand. And it's just, it just reduces the conversation about what makes a strong brand to nonsense.
But brands have brands since the beginning of time have talked about ambassadors and loyalists, haven't they? And I think that's presumably where the notion of love comes from. Yeah. If you love something, you're much more likely to be loyal to it and buy it again and again and again, but it just grows into a metric that realistically is somewhat meaningless.
Yeah, and I do see in the article that you're hoping for, if it's, and I do go, maybe I'm being brand wank and kind of changing one phrase for another, but that kind of sense of to develop a non-rational disposition towards your brand, whereas like you can't quite understand why you pick it, but you do pick it. It's kind of like you can't really quite explain it. And Julie and I were talking about this. I was faced with this very challenge at the weekend because I was buying booze. I love my booze, right? And I needed to buy gin because I had a wee with the old gin. I fancied getting some gin. I didn't have any gin in the house. Went to the cooperative supermarket, and there in front of me and behind me, 2 walls of gin.
Must have been a big co-op.
Where did you start, Stuart?
Well, that is the thing. Where do you start? Because you just look at it and you're kind of, and it's weird. All the kind of thing that we talk about in practice was there, and I ended up buying a gin that I've seen a lot on YouTube, quite like the bottle, was actually, because I'm a snob, a little bit more expensive than the other stuff. So I went, because I don't buy it often, I was going to treat myself.
Well, you work hard and you're worth it.
Well, thank you, Chris. So, and that's how I ended up buying it. At no point it was all associations. It was all other things. It was all that looks a bit nice.
Were you consciously decoding this as you were
doing it? Yeah, when I was doing
it. The whole thing's
when I was doing it. When I was doing it, I was going, this is all nonsense because it's not about cost. It's not about, it's not rational. I'm buying, I bought something that I've seen on a YouTube cooking channel Basics with Babish. There we go. So the botanist will be delighted to know that actually it works, because it was the thing that actually I went, the botanist, because it's on there. I trust that guy. All the brand associations, all the things we talk about hit me. And are there. And at no point go, because there's Gordon's. Now, people love Gordon's gin. We're talking Tanqueray, and at no point did love come into it. It was just there, and I've seen stuff, and I didn't want to make a bad buying decision. So I just picked that.
So what's your point about, you said you were faced with this very challenge?
It's just at no point was love. If that was a metric, at no point was love. And at no point I really loved that brand. It was none of the brands I particularly loved. They're all just gins. So it was then other associations that where had I seen it before? Did I like the bottle? It was a little bit more expensive actually played into it. At no point was there any kind of, I didn't even have a personal recommendation. You know, I mean, Julie likes a gin, I've been told, and I know that you like it.
The odd one or
gin. It was there. So I just think when you're looking at the metric,
disposition.
Yeah, and that's what it came down to.
Yeah.
That's what it came down to. Thanks, Chris. You pulled me back on track. There.
Because it's actually quite boring and functional, but brand marketeers like to think that it is a bit more emotional.
And we've talked about this before, haven't we? I know I've used the example of my Patagonia versus my Lululemon jacket on previous pods, but the same point is here. And, you know, if you're talking about a brand that you look at and you respect and you value their values, and you would pick Patagonia every day of the week. But when push came to shove, I preferred the look of the Lululemon jacket, and it's also a brand I really, really like. But in terms of sustainability credentials, they're miles behind. So it's kind of like, even when you want to buy into the brand's purpose, you know, more often than not, it comes down to the kind of functional, rational stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's
So it's just that whole brand love bollocksy nonsense thing that kind of
it devalues
it just makes our life a little bit harder when you see it in a briefing what people love the brand. I went, I can't do that, because it's very much reliant on the product. There's very little that we can do to kind of pull that out, to elevate it, to push up the perceived value of something if the product's not very good. Because we were talking, I mean, a lot of people loved Debenhams, which was a high street
and Woolworths.
Yeah. But that's because of the kind of childhood memories and nostalgia, isn't it? Not because of the products they sold.
But if you were to go out and go, let's measure the brand love of this organisation, you'd think you'd be quids in. You'd think you'd be doing really well, but actually nobody's going there. And and because it's now moved on and there's something else.
Well, and the Gap as well.
Yeah,
you know, it's another
Gap
example,
no longer on the British High Street.
It's back to that statement about research and, you know, what people say, what people do, and what people say they do are all three separate things.
Absolutely. So for me, I got battered about the head. Now, interestingly, we have an article which I shall link to on the website that actually says that brand love's a good thing.
Oh, do we?
Yes, we do. And I'm happy to kind of leave that on, because I quite like the fact, because as an agency, we're capable of holding two different thoughts in our heads at the same time. And I think you can look at it and kind of compare and go, well, this is one thought of it and there's another thought of it. But for me, I just think it's, you know, in case anybody goes to the website and goes, hold on, you've got two brand love articles, you know, one saying it's a, how do you make,
no.
And I think that's up to the people, because we make suggestions, clients make decisions. And I think it's the thing where, like, I'd like to have the opposite case for it on the site. I still think it's fucking nonsense, but I think it's there.
It's worthy of having a debate.
Yeah, I think though you can, on the kind of the counter to that slightly, is that you can love what a brand does, without, you know, whether that's their stance on diversity, whether that's models that they use, whether it's sustainability, whatever it is, you know, you can, but still, when push comes to shove, there are a whole other bunch of factors at play when ultimately you're making a decision about which and how much you care about choosing one over another. Yeah,
because I love my AirPods, I love my Apple products, but I don't really love them.
This is the unconditional thing, isn't it?
That's exactly it. It's a shorthand phrase to kind of cover off a whole lot of things about why I'm not
completely devalued, doesn't it? Yeah.
But, and I also get why marketeers would like to hear, I mean, who doesn't want to hear the product that you've been sweating over is loved by your customers? So I like, and I get that, and I'm not saying that's
so much of brand is talking about making connections and creating connections and telling stories and, you know, having a personality. We talk about it through language and tone of voice, all of these kind of human aspects of the brand. So it's not a massive leap to go, we want customers to love our brand. But I guess it's the overplaced sense of importance of that as a metric.
So is it our job to then reframe that for them and say, look, a more sensible metric is what are the things we should...
Growth. Yeah. It's growth. I mean, ultimately it's growth, and NPS scores are probably a little bit, an NPS score is probably brand more accurate. Yeah, it's brand tracking. Awareness. There's lots of things around it. Do you know, and do you like the product is probably a better, but to try
Would you recommend the NPS?
Yeah. And I think, and for a recommended score, for NPS, and that's gold. If you've got high NPS, you're going to grow. I mean, and that to me is a much more business focused growth metric,
outcome focused,
rather than going, you know what, we want people to love our brand. And
business, our sales are through the floor, but it doesn't matter, guys. Everyone loves our brand.
Everybody loves our free trainers.
Which is what the marketing director at Woolworths used to say.
Yeah. He was really, don't worry. Everybody loves our cheap
Nobody
sweeties.
shops here, but everyone loves us.
Yeah.
I did love a Woolworths pick and mix, to be fair.
Always kind of. Nobody, when I was a child, I didn't use the wee shovel.
There's always
pure
one.
Horns in.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
How many pick and mix sweeties have you stolen in your time?
I can't answer that question. Well, there was a wee cheeky anyway. So yeah, that's basically. I mean, this is a short and sharp one. Really, it's just in and out. But it just kind of, I don't mind. But just getting back.
So what's our summary points here then? So make sure you're choosing the meaningful metrics.
Yeah, and if somebody, and I don't know if this is true or not, if somebody's from the C-suite or somebody above you is coming in, we need people to love the brand, and that's the statement. I think what does that break down into? And as Julie said, brand tracking and NPS scores, and while they're not necessarily as sexy as going, people love, at least you can build up to that. I think at least you can say, so by knowing about our this and our this and our this and our NPS score and everything else, we can say that people do love it. So you can just roll that up, and then you could maybe say at the end of it, and because of all this and some of the qualitative stuff we've done, people do love our product. That's great, and I don't understand it, but it's got to be backed up by something more than an acronym for fresh. It just...
This management consultancy's got to make their money somehow.
Well, I guess so.
Do you think they came up with fresh first and then worked it back?
We
all love a bit of reverse engineering.
Yeah, you could just see the meeting and went, got it, I've got it.
Fun, relevant, engaging, social and helpful.
And some of that helpful I'm all up for. I like a bit of helpful, but just fresh, what does that even mean? What does that mean?
You have to go to the fresh index for that.
Right, yeah. Well,
that's an extra £100,000.
So yeah, that's basically me bish bash boshing a bit of
read the article, folks. It's good.
A bit of rage. Please comment, and if I'm wrong. Please comment, and I'll put the other one in. And I think we'll be doing another one of these podcasts where we state the state of the nation of brand.
State of the brand nation.
No. Remember when we just used to do our jobs and we didn't need to write stuff and record stuff?
We're all publishers now, though, Stuart.
We are all publishers now. That's the thing, but that's it. So, but anything else?
No.
Brilliant.
Mind the roads.
Bye.
Bye.